Hi everyone, so I'm back with another tutorial and this time I wanted to make a simple Valentine card. So I start off with a piece of handmade cold press watercolor paper. This is by Craftangles and it is 100% cotton paper. And now I'll start wetting the paper and then dropping Craftangles liquid watercolors on top of it. I'm taking the colors which remind me of galaxies. So the reason why I have chosen 100% cotton paper is because I plan to do wet on top of it, wet on wet technique, where I drop wet color on top of wet paper. And I think I did 2 washes of paint on top of it. So I knew that, I wanted to add multiple layers of colors, and that is why I selected 100% cotton paper. Now you can see I start off with a purple color, so this is eggplant by Craftangles, and then I move on to some blue which is poolside, and then we'll move on to some pink, I think, which is going to be Pretty Peony. So again you will see that the placement of colors is I just wanted to create a very loose galaxy kind of a look. That's what I was going for, and I'm just dropping these colors to imitate galaxy. Again, nothing very specific, very random and very loose. And again, since just because this is so random and so loose, you can easily create, mass produce these for Valentine or any other like galaxy themed birthday party or things like that. You can easily create these kind of base for your cards. And since this is watercolor and handmade, everything is going to turn out different. So each and every card is going to look different, and that is the whole USP, you could say, of this card, that even if someone asked you to make a same one, you can definitely use the same colors. However, it's not going to be exactly the same. Now you can see that once I dried, I felt the amount of color was less, and that is why I went back and added more colors. So I'm just dropping the same colors in the same area. So where I had dropped earlier purple, I'm just going back and dropping more purple. Where I had added pink, I'm adding more pink, and where I went back with blue, I added more blue. So the colors that I used was eggplant, poolside, and Pretty Peony. And now that I'm happy with how everything looks, even though if there are minute imperfections in this, don't worry about it, because we are going to do stenciling on top of it. So anyways, most of it is going to get hidden. Now I take a stencil. This is Starry Background Stencil by Craftangles, and then I'm taking Craftangles Glimmer Paste. The color that I'm using is Fairy Dust. So this is just a clear shimmery glimmer paste that I'm using on top of the galaxy background. So just adding some glitter, shine and stars on my background to make galaxy even further. So once, if you are you are using glitter paste, make sure that you clean your stencil immediately or dunk it in a bowl of water, because once dry, this is permanent even on your stencil and other material, and it can ruin your stencil. So now I let this dry, and I'm using my heat tool to dry it. You can definitely use a heat tool to dry glimmer paste, not an issue. However, make sure that you don't concentrate heat in one area for too long, or it may bubble up. Now once I am happy with how everything looks, so you can see those are the shimmery stars that I've created. That is the background that's been created on the galaxy background that we just made. Now I was just thinking of what stamp should I use, and I really like this sentiment, which is love you to moon and back, and I thought that it made sense to use that with the galaxy background that I was going for, and that is why that is the stamp set that I chose. So now I'm stamping this on some classic smooth white. So this is just a scrap piece of paper that I'm using, and then I'm trimming around it, and this sentiment is going to be the focal point of my card. So I don't plan to use any characters or nothing, just a galaxy background, and top of this I want this particular sentiment, since this is such big one, and it is such a cool sentiment. I felt this can be a focal point of a card, and that is what I plan to do. Now just so that that white does not look very stark on our galaxy background, I'm just taking the same colors, so the same 3 colors, eggplant, poolside and Pretty Peony, and I'm just adding a very light wash of those colors on top of the cardstock. Now since this is not a watercolor cardstock, it cannot take a lot of layers of water or it will start disintegrating. even though it is a 300 GSM cardstock, just because it is not a watercolor cardstock and it is not meant to take that much amount of water. So make sure that if you are planning to do a lot of watercoloring on top of it, you switch it up with a watercolor cardstock. I just wanted to add a basic wash of color, and I did not want to go very fancy watercoloring or something like that, so I was okay with using this cardstock. Now once this is completely dry, I plan to put this on top of my card. As I said, this is going to be the focal point of the card, and I'll add this on the center of my card, and that is going to complete my card, a simple CAS card. Now just to pop off the sentiment on top of my card base, I'm using some foam tape to mount the sentiment square on top of my card. Now this is a trick which I do a lot, especially when I want something to pop on my card, especially with such kind of CAS cards where there is not a lot of characters or things going on. It's a very basic card. The whole thing is the whole galaxy background and the sentiments are the ones which are important, and that is why, just to amp up a card a bit, I try to add foam tape here and there. So here you'll see that I added foam tapes in two places. First is of course to mount the sentiment on top of our card base, and then the card base which I am using, which is classic smooth white, I am using another foam tape on the card pattern, the galaxy pattern that we created, and then again I have foam mounted that on top of our card base, just to add some extra oomph to the simple card that we created. So that completes a card, a very simple galaxy themed Valentine card, very easy to mass produce and can be converted to different colors of your choice. I hope you give this idea and try. If you do, don't forget to link me or Handmade or Craft Angles. I'm sure we would love to see what you made. And I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.